guys, it's 11 Central Time, so it's time to have our little chat about interfacings. Let me know where you're from. Can everybody hear me okay? Hopefully it is good to go. If you grant StreamYard permission to see your name, I can see who you are when you comment. If not, that's okay too. Leave your comments. Let me know where you're coming in from. And here we go. Okay, so one of the questions I get most often in my email inbox is about interfacing. What kind to use, with what? Can I use it with vinyl? How many layers should I use? Should I keep it out of the seam? All of that kind of stuff. And I wanted to bring a bunch of bags that I've made in all kinds of different ways. This is an example. Okay, yes, good. So what I will say is you have permission and freedom to try any combination that you like whatsoever. I do it all the time. I'm constantly experimenting. Yes, I run the risk of making something that's maybe not as nice as I wanted it to be, but I think that it's really important to allow yourself that experimentation process, because you might find something, hit on something that's better than anything you've seen out there. So there's one. Hi Jen. I always forget to post that I'm doing these, so I hope some more people pop in with us. But hey, if it's just you and me, that's cool. Okay, so first I am going to do a picture-in-picture view in a minute. Hi, Selena. Love you. I hope you're doing okay over there on the West Coast. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Okay, let's get right into it. I'm going to try to stay organized. I actually typed out notes because I know that when I get talky, I can be like, and then this, and then this, and then that. I mean, do you feel me? Are you like that? Because I can go down the deep end and just, start talking about other stuff. So anyways, I'm going to try to stay on point today. First of all, here are some Naomi bags that I made. This is my pattern here, in case you aren't sure which pattern I'm talking about. That's what it looks like as of now. Eventually, I'll revamp that to look like my other patterns. They're slowly all gonna look like this with that purplish color stripe at the top. This bag, I love this bag for just like a stylish, fun bag. And both of these use my vegan leather vinyl and a layer of foam interfacing, and then a quilting cotton lining. And let me tell you, for the quilting cotton, I always interface my quilting cotton with SF101 interfacing. It's thin, it's fusible on one side, and I always put that on my linings. Well, I shouldn't say always. Sometimes I use it even on the exterior as the first base layer. It just makes fabric easier to work with. It gives it a little bit more body. You cut more precisely. So oftentimes what I'll do is lay out. I can be kind of wasteful with this. I don't care, because I'll Franken piece it later. I'll lay out a big swatch on my table, my cutting mat, and then put my pattern pieces on top and fuse it, and then cut things out. And whatever is left over, I keep for small areas in another bag or another project. I always use the scraps because you can layer them and fuse them on, and it's super awesome. So I would always fuse that to the wrong side of whatever fabric you're using. Sometimes I'll do a layer of the SF101 on, if let's say, for instance, this bag. This is a Santorini tote. For this one, see how this is quilting cotton up here? I have a layer of SF101, and then I added a layer of foam interfacing right over top. And I tend to use by Annie's, Soft and Stable. I've tried Headliner and Basel, and they both will work. I just have a better experience when I use by Annie's, and it's not fusible. I've tried the fusible foams, and usually I get wrinkles. No matter how careful I am, I just don't have good luck with fusible foam. You may, and that's cool. I just don't. So for this one, that is what I did up here. And then the vinyl, I used to have this vinyl in my shop. I no longer do. But for the vinyl, I didn't use anything because this vinyl had enough body to support the bag with that interfacing up here. If that makes sense. Every vinyl is different. I could not have done that if that vinyl had been vegan leather. It's too thin. So I would have had to interface the vegan leather with foam interfacing, like I did here. This has foam interfacing on every single vegan leather piece you see. All of that is foam. Now, what I do is I like to place my vegan leather or whatever vinyl needs it, pattern piece onto the foam, rough cut it out. Rough cut means you're not cutting precisely right on those pattern pieces. It's pretty rough. And then I go to my machine and I baste 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. And baste stitch is like a bigger sewing stitch. So I'm not using a ton of thread. You don't have to baste. You can use a normal stitch like if you want. And then I come back and I cut out really closely and make sure it's precise. I will say some bag designers encourage you not bringing the foam all the way into the seam allowance. That does not ever work for me. I don't know what's wrong, if it's user error or what is going on. I do not recommend that. I don't do that. I want the foam in my seam allowance. I feel that it gives more strength to the bag, and I know nothing is going to shift later when I use these bags all the time, and it's just super secure. With foam, I mean, even this top stitched edge here has foam in it, and you can feel the foam everywhere. It's everywhere. It's even around the circle handle. It's there. It's not hard to sew. And I'll tell you what, if you're using a thickish vinyl and you feel like your machine can't handle it, you can either hammer those seams. I use this, if I still have it up here, my rubber mallet. I sure do, because I got a whole bunch of these all over the place. Ooh! I use a rubber mallet because sometimes with a regular hammer, you can make little indentations on your vinyl, like little half moons. I mean, if you want that texture, then do it, you know. But this is what I use. I don't always have to do that. Sometimes, for whatever reason, I try something different, and I do a zigzag stitch all the way around that outer edge of the foam to kind of mesh it down a little more with thread and my sewing machine. Oh no, Kim says my sound is off. Is it off? Or is that, I hope I haven't been talking this whole time without the sound on. You guys let me know. Can you comment and make sure you can hear me? Okay, Jessica can see and hear me. Woo! That was like panic attack. Kim, sometimes that happens to me too, and I think maybe just recycle the little curvy arrow in that top left corner. Okay, good. Debbie can hear. Lynn can hear. Okay, well, we're going forward. Moving on. Okay, so that is what I do with foam and vinyl as far as the seam allowance goes. I know it's a legitimate fear when you're using a home sewing machine to get those layers through your machine. And on previous lives, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned you have to keep your foot level. So you might need to get a plastic little thingamajig called a jeans majig or a hump jump just to keep your foot level. Because the minute your foot starts doing this with layers, you're going to break a needle. FYI. Now, as far as some of the other makes I've done, so this is Moonglow vinyl, and it has a real leathery textured surface. And on the back, we've got like a, you know, a fabric style backing. Sometimes for the moon glow, I don't use any interfacing at all. And it just depends how I want that bag to sit up. So let me show you these two zipper cases. Same pattern. I think this one I made a tiny bit bigger. Yeah, this is a small, this is a medium, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe a random size. Same pattern, it's this one. See the cover? That's moon glow vinyl. This one has 0 interfacing on purpose, except the lining. The lining does have SF101, but I'm saying the vinyl has no interfacing. This one has interfacing. See how it stands up? Nothing is in here. This just stands up perfectly. This is on purpose because it's going to sit on my bathroom counter with makeup and whatever. This I wanted to have as a travel case, you know, throw it in a suitcase, throw it in an online air travel bag, and I wanted it to be floppier and to smush flatter. So it will still stand up a bit. The vinyl has a bit of body, but it will fold up and be flat and smushier if you want it. Whereas this one is not. It's just going to stay like this. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So there's that. See this? Okay, I talked about that one. This Santorini tote, and I need to, I should have pressed that. I was using this for months and months and months. So it's gotten a lot of wear and tear. And it is the soft vinyl and gunmetal quilted with foam interfacing. And again, I used the By Annie's and I just quilted the vinyl before I put the bag together. So that's the only interfacing I used for the vinyl, because remember, the soft vinyl is a lot like fabric. It's basically like working with fabric. So I knew the bag would not have any body or stand up if I didn't use that foam. And then on the inside, the lining, again, I used SF101. It's pretty much my favorite woven interfacing. Now, on that note, this Santorini tote has nothing. Okay, and see how smooshy it is. So this is a canvas, which has SF101 interfacing, and then vegan leather, which I didn't interface at all, and then canvas again with SF101. And that's all I used on the outside. And then for the lining, I did SF101 again. So think of this bag, smooshy-ish, with a bit of the vegan leather, which are these bags, with no interfacing and just SF101. And you're going to get a bag that's more like this. And then when it's full, yeah, it's going to have shape because the vinyl and the SF101 allow it to have some shape, but it's much smooshier and you might need to press it now and then. Okay. Whereas with the foam, it just kind of stays that way. Now with the croc vinyl, this one doesn't have any interfacing on the croc. Now, full disclosure, I've made so many croc vinyl Santorini totes, and I liked, I think, my peach one the best, and that one I did interface the croc with foam interfacing. This one was more of an experiment to see if it would work, and it did. I did not interface the vinyl at all. I only interfaced the lining fabric with SF101. And as you can see, it still has body and maintains shape. It's just not as stiff or thick feeling, substantial feeling as my peach croc Santorini tote that has foam interfacing, which I couldn't find. It's somewhere in my attic. I'm sorry. Couldn't find it at the moment, and it's sweltering up there. Now, for this bag, which is a coffee house pattern, this one, see, I even put it on the cover. This, I just pieced a bunch of scraps together and then sashiko stitched it. That's that big stitching you see, just for texture. And then I used fusible fleece on this one. And that's why it's got a little more body than if I just use the SF101, but it's still super smushy. Let me show you Fusible fleece. I love Fusible fleece. I just love it. It's easy, easy, easy to work with. You fuse the rough side to the wrong side of your fabric and then proceed. That's it. And it reminds me, this bag feels kind of like a quilt would feel. Think of Fusible fleece much like quilt batting. It's thin, but yet gives a little body, easy to work with, easy to sew. You don't have to do anything special when you're working with Fusible fleece. I don't hammer or sew down the seam allowances or anything like that. I really love Fusible fleece. I'm trying to keep an eye on these comments. Hi, Kat. Hi, Clovis. Hi, everybody. I will run through questions. Ask your question at any time, and I will try to see it and answer. Let's see. What else can we talk about? Okay, so this is the Iris messenger bag, and this is made with canvas, and I did not use any kind of interfacing other than SF101. That's all I used. And honestly, I don't use this a lot because it is so floppy. And so when I'm wearing it, I need a stool or something. No, because I'll fall. When I'm wearing it, sometimes it can be hard to make it behave when I want to get in and out with my stuff. And so I thought, oh man, that was kind of a miss, darn it, because I really love this fabric. In the future, I would have made this with foam because it would be easier to control when I'm trying to get in and out and use it. La la la. You know what I mean? Okay. So let's move on to this one. This is is this Bliss or Ananda? This is Bliss. The Bliss yoga bag. It's a zippered yoga bag, and I wanted to sashiko stitch all the pieced fabric again, so I only used Fusible fleece in this, and that's why it's so floppy. And on the end, I put some clear vinyl just as an experiment, and then on this end, I closed it up with fabric. And I really like this because when it's not in use, I can just smush it down and store it without a problem. However, I will say, if you make a yoga bag and you do it with foam, it's really nice because it just sits open for you when you open it wide like this and put in your yoga mat. It's really, really easy. And that's why I think really there's no right or wrong to interfacings. It just depends on what you want for your bag. For this Woodstock bag, I used foam and quilting cotton. And I'm sure, I don't remember specifically, but I'm sure I did a layer of SF101 first on the fabric and then the foam. And then inside I have a vinyl pocket here. Can you see that? Yep. And it's just a nice, quick, easy sew. If it's your first time using foam, you might want to do something small like this. So you get a feel of what the texture will be like. And then you're not spending a bunch of money on a lot of material and interfacing. This bag my mom made. This is a small Santorini tote or purse size, and she used the mirror shine vinyl on the bottom and the gunmetal soft on the top. Now, the vinyl is not interfaced, and the gunmetal has foam interfacing. And then her lining has SF101. So again, this vinyl, the mirror shine, it's a thicker gauge, so it's able to support the bag and stand up and not like crunch down like this. You know what I mean? So it's able to handle it. Certain vinyls will be able to handle it. The thinner ones will not. You'll have to interface those if you want your bag to stand up. This large Santorini tote, the mega large size, I did not interface at all. So this is white glossy vinyl and mirror shine and no interfacing, like zero, none. And this is how it maintains shape, and that's because of the vinyl. So the lining has SF101, the vinyl has nothing. Now in hindsight, maybe I should have put a layer of SF101 on the vinyl because it would probably prevent some of the, not wrinkling, but what would you call that? Dimpling or of the vinyl, but whatever, you know. So there are those. Oh, this mountain saddle bag, which is an Emmeline pattern, Emmeline Bags pattern. Very cute. I used soft vinyl and then foam everywhere. And that's why this little bag maintains its shape so well, is because of that foam. Had I not used that, I don't think you would really see the shape well with this material that I use, because it's a soft vinyl. It's like fabric, so it would probably just collapse on itself. Okay, so there are those. Let me think what else. Oh, little projects like this. This is a canvas. This is the Snappy Pocket Case pattern. It's like $4 or $5 in my shop. I did not interface because, let me tell you why. This is canvas, and then a big portion of this case has the clear vinyl. So it gives the case enough body to not be collapsing. It just works. So that's why that one is that way. I showed these cases last week. This is the Essential Oils pattern made with vinyl. This is Stardust vinyl. This is Croc vinyl. And she used definitely Fusible fleece here. And I love it. They're nice and thick and protective of oil bottles, but it's workable. I would not use foam in this case, being that it's so small, if using vinyl. If using quilting cotton, I would. So am I confusing you totally? What I just want to convey is you have to visualize how you want your bag to behave and then adjust your materials or interfacings accordingly. So, large floppy messenger bag. Yes, that's the Iris messenger bag, and that is in my shop. That pattern is just in PDF right now. It's only been in PDF since its birth. I may think about having it printed, but it is a larger bag, so I don't know if it would be popular. I really like big bags. When I go out, I like to carry everything. Oh, and you can feel free to size it down as well. But it does have a zipper closure. I should add that. It has like a little inset zipper closure in there. That's Iris. Okay, let me think. So we covered Croc vinyl, Stardust vinyl, Moonglow vinyl, vegan leather vinyl, soft vinyl. I'm trying to think. I think those are all the ones that I have that you would use with a lining. Yay! Okay, good. I'm glad, Lisa, you're not confused. Yay. Are all the interfacings easy to browse and shop to explore? So interfacings, you can find most of these, I would say, at big box stores. I am going to try to carry biannies more often. I have it every now and then, and I stop because sometimes you can get it, you know, online. I'm not mentioning JEP, but you can get a lot of this interfacing there. Somebody did ask me about Decoville Light, and I've sold like 5 bolts in my shop, and it is wonderful. It's thin, kind of feels like a wax paper, but I don't often use this because it is hard to source. I don't know what's going on with them, but it's just like right now I can't get any. So it's just harder to source, so I try to not use it a ton. I do talk about using this in the Easy Zipper Case pattern, because I think if you're brand new, like to zippers or to sewing bags, this is the pattern that you want to get, because I'm giving you options for easier interfacings to use. I really thought about that pattern as something that I wish I had had when I had started sewing zippers. So that's why it's called easy zipper cases, because as you guys know, once you try something, you're like, oh, that was it? That ain't hard. Let's see, what was the name? Oh yeah, we covered that. That was Iris. Yep, we got Kat there. Love it. Yay! So great. I'm so glad. How did you do that clear vinyl pocket? Oh, in the Woodstock bag? That is a feature in that pattern. So I just bind the top edge and I sew that pocket in. Vinyl never frays. That's the glitter star vinyl that I carry. So it's just raw edge on the side and bottom, and it's totally fine. I've used this a lot. And it looks good because it's clear. You're not seeing, you don't, like I don't look in here and go, oh, raw edges. Not at all. Not at all. Play with it. You'll see. Late is better than never, Sandy. It might be worth, if you guys missed the first half, to go back and rewatch it. I will keep it on Facebook, and it will be on my YouTube channel also. And I might do another YouTube video about it because I'm noticing that the quality for YouTube is a little bit lower. So I need to just do YouTube by itself probably. Decoville Light, I do not keep out of my seam allowances for the same reason I told you about the foam. I like to have my interfacings in my seam allowances. To me, it feels more secure. I am all for trying other ways, and other designers might tell you to do it their way for their pattern. Great, try it, see what you like best. But when it's Decoville Light, I tend to keep all my interfacing in my seam allowance. I don't use Decoville Heavy. I had a bolt. I ended up gifting it to somebody because I do not like working with that. It's almost like, it's not quite like cardboard, but it's thick. And I rather use foam, to be honest. If I want something thick but easy to work with, I'm going to go with foam. Decoville Heavy, it was just too much for me. I was like, no, not doing it. But some people love it. So FYI, I'm not an expert in every single subject about bag making, and neither are other designers. Like, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. We all have our subjective opinions, and you know, I encourage you to try new ways all the time, because you're going to find what you like the best, and it may be different than me, and that's wonderful, right? I have that star vinyl. Yeah, it's a good one. I love that one. I'm keeping that one forever. It's so fun. Cool idea. Yep. On my essentials tote, which I'm going to have revamped well, I do the revamping. I'm going to have it revamped. No, I'm going to revamp it to look like this kind of a cover soon. It has a huge vinyl pocket on front and back exterior, and big vinyl pockets inside if you want to do all the vinyl pockets. As always, you don't have to, but I show you how I do them in this bag, and there are no raw edges in this bag, I believe, if I remember correctly. This is like 2016. And this is the bag I use for my grocery shopping. I take these with me and fill up all my goods, and then I don't take home any of those wretched plastic bags that I can't stand, that break anyways. Yay! I had it in my shop, but I sold out. So as soon as I can get it again, the listing is still up. So if you hit the email me, notify me when in stock, my system will automatically email you when I have it in stock. I don't know where else you get it at the moment. Everybody's out that I know of. I sew trucks. My window is shut. That was really loud. I sew on all kinds of sewing machines, but often it's my Janome Skyline S7. I also have a Bernina 1008. I have a Bernina 350, and I sew on a Juki TL 2000. I don't have the 2010, which is what a lot of bag makers have. So let me just say, for 10 years, I only had a Bernina 1008, which is a very basic machine. And that is how I wrote the majority of my patterns, is thinking of people with a very basic machine. However, I will say, even though it's basic, it's heavy, it's metal, it's not computerized, it can handle layers. I used a Teflon foot when sewing vinyl. So there are all kinds of things you can do to help you. And one I talk about a lot is a quality machine. My machine was refurbished. It had been used for 30 years. And then I bought it, refurbished, worked great. I used that for 10 years. That was my only machine. Only when I moved back to the States did I start acquiring more machines. And often I pick them up from people who are like, oh, I don't have time to sew. Can you take it? And I'm like, yes, please. So I don't think it's so much the model that's super important, but it is important that it can handle layers and work for you, meaning that it's easy to use for you. Some $12,000 sewing machines, I would never choose that because I know myself and I know that I'm not going to sit there and learn how to use that. So food for thought, right? Embroidering on Moonglow vinyl. Yep, it works like a charm. I'll post that on Instagram today. My friend Cindy at Nosy Pepper Embroidery Designs sent a design to me, and I did it yesterday. I made coasters with the Moonglow vinyl and their records. So I will show you that. Hopefully I can get that posted today. Worked like a charm. What I do is I put felt in the hoop, and then I do some spray adhesive, the 505, and I float the vinyl on top. So if you're an embroidery machine user, you know what I'm saying here. And it was perfect. Works great. And I have kind of cheap embroidery thread because I didn't know if I would like embroidery. So it worked fine. Yay, she likes the clear star vinyl too. I do too. It's so fun. And I have glitter stars in a rainbow vinyl too. I should have brought that up, but that's in the shop too. I really like that essentials tote. Is it doable for a beginner? Absolutely. All my patterns, in my opinion, almost all of them are doable for a beginner. What I would say is just do the vinyl pockets on the outside and leave the vinyl pockets on the inside out, maybe on your first one. Honestly, I make this pattern all the time without the lining pockets because, as I said, I use it for a grocery tote. So I don't want pockets in there. I just want a large square tote to hold my food, you know? So definitely, I did make a list of some beginner patterns. So these are my beginner patterns that I have listed. Easy zipper cases, stash and dash case, which is being renamed to Time for Change pouch. That'll be out next week. I sent it to Michelle Graham, bag tester extraordinaire, to look over, to help me with that, to make sure it's perfect for you guys. That'll be out next week. Betty Bow bag. Where's my Betty Bow bag? Named after me mammy. That one. And believe it or not, that bow is really simple. Bows look so cool and they're so easy to make. It's like a rectangle. So good. Bliss yoga bag. Where's Bliss? Even though it has a zipper, it is easy because you guys, I have zipper installation the same in every pattern because my way works. And it's not my way. I didn't invent it. It's just the way I can see things in my head. That's how I do it in every pattern for a zipper. So if you can make an easy zipper case, you can make this yoga bag. Also the Ananda yoga bag with my cuñada on front. That means sister-in-law in Spanish. That one is no zipper. That's just a drop in. And I think that one is like $5 if you just want a simple yoga bag. Santorini tote, which I can't believe I didn't bring that pattern up here, but you guys know the Santorini tote. And on the Santorini, you can always leave out the zipper pockets for sure. I make Santorini all the time. not putting the zipper pockets in. It's totally fine. For intermediate patterns, I would say Naomi, just because of the darts and the circle handle. I would say banana bag because of the darts. It's not hard, but the darts, if you've never done darts, I show you how, and all these have videos to walk you through, and I'm always available, Natalie@SoHungryHippie.com. I said Woodstock because of the darts, but actually this is a really simple bag. And the Trina backpack and the Wendy backpack. These, I think, well, I've retired them from my shop unless you buy both together. And it's basically the same pattern, but the Wendy is made with see-through vinyl, so it's only one layer, so it's fast. And the Trina is quilted, you know, a quilted backpack, or not quilted, but fabric or soft vinyl or whatever. And they have pattern pieces in them, but they are more intense and time consuming for sure. Oh, coffee house bag. What did I rate that? I didn't rate it. I would say beginner, possibly intermediate if you do the removable flap. So with the coffee house bag, I made it so that you can just take off these flaps and change it out and put on a different flap. And if you look at my Instagram feed this week, I did show you, I made a cork flap, I made a vinyl flap, I made 2 vinyl flaps. One was clear, one was pink, and then I made this fabric flap. And I just change them out when I feel like it. So possibly that makes it intermediate. How are we doing on time? Okay, because I'll have an Instagram live at noon. So yay, yay. You have good directions on all your pen. Well, good, thank you. And I appreciate feedback. So if you guys ever think, oh, I'm not really clear about this, you can email me and let me know that. There was a funny thing this week. I don't even know if I should say it. Well, somebody just doubted a pattern publicly on social media and tagged me, and it really hurt my feelings because publicly announcing, like, I don't think this is right. How can this be right? It's like, would you do that to somebody in real life, or would you just go to them privately and say, look, I don't think this is right. Is this what, am I understanding it correctly, or whatever? Privately, it's great. And yes, the pattern was correct, but it's okay. We all have different ways of thinking about things. But just bring it to me on email or direct message, and I'll handle it, okay? And if I'm not perfect, if there's a mistake, I will publicly announce it and have an errata page and talk about it. We're all human. We all make mistakes. But if you could just not maybe publicly post something like that, that would be great. Oh, Betty, I have this Naomi bag made in croc vinyl. Betty made this, and I think it's gorgeous. What is that tag? Naomi bag. I sent this actually to Checker as an example. They're a distributing company, and they had it on a live video. So that is the Naomi bag with foam, interfacing, croc vinyl, quilting cotton lining. Wonderful. So cool. Thanks for letting me have that. Okay, I think we have covered everything. What can I answer for you guys while I look over my notes real quick? Yeah. Oh, I do have quite a few free beginner patterns in my shop at SoHungryHippie.com. The wristlet clutch, I call it my wristlet clutch, super popular. Lots and lots and lots of people have emailed me saying that's their first bag they've ever made, and it was simple for them. And also the shopper tote in there is smaller than the essentials tote. So it's like a scaled down version, no pockets, just 2 layers of fabric and straps, and that's it. And that's free. Oh, me too. For real. I was just talking about that with a friend of mine, and she loves really intricate, hard things. And I told her, I said, I'm just in admiration because I respect that. but I don't want to do it. So I try to keep things like simple. We all have life outside of sewing and it's complicated, and let's just sit down at the machine and have a good time. That's my motto. So there are definitely designers who do intricate, difficult, technical, super involved, and I love them. I support them totally. I just know who I am and what I want to make. And pattern writing is hard. There's probably people out there who it's like, it's a cinch. But for me, I go over these patterns. I mean, I don't even want to tell you. It's usually at least a full month, multiple tests, and then I send it to testers, and then I have my eagle eye, what do you call them? I almost said sharpshooter. That's not it. Sharp reader, editors, I don't know. Technical editors go over it. And I mean, like, you think you're smart until you talk to those people. Oh, yay! That makes me happy. I do have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. Feel free to use those anytime. If there's any questions, you can ask a question there in the comments. It usually emails me and I'll answer it right away when I see it, or you can email me. I try to make those pretty accessible. You know, the more you do and the more you know, the better you want to do. And so some of those early videos I think need to be redone so they look better. It's just at the time I didn't know. I didn't have equipment, so I did my best at the time. All right. I think that's it, you guys. I don't see any more questions here. I'm always open to doing discussions and chat about whatever you need. So keep the emails coming. That's why this talk happened. I was set to do a different thing, and then I had at least 6 emails about interfacing this week. So I definitely thought we need to talk about this. Yeah, so there we are. So for your weekend sew, I hope you have a good time. Good weekend. Take time for you. Use quality tools. Get the best you can as far as machines and tools. Cutting, as you know, I use Havel's tools. And cutting mats, I use Havel's. And let me think. Irons. Ironing is important. Pressing, I talk about that in the patterns. Pressing can make or break a bag. Take time to press. And that's it, I think. Thanks so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful that I'm not just talking to the ether. So, all right. I will see you next Friday, or maybe I'll see you at noon on Instagram. I'm going to be talking about the Candy Crush quilt along in case you want to catch that. I'll also be on the Janome Sewing Machines Facebook page today at 2, talking about Candy Crush. If you have any questions, show up. I'm here for you. Otherwise, I will see you next week. All right. Bye. Bye.